On this week's episode of That Sound podcast, we have music maestro Dave Moore with us again. Dave, an absolute pleasure to have you.
Listen, it's a great billing to get music, maestro. I'll take that any day of the week. Great to be here, lads. It's brilliant fun the last time. So yeah, glad to be here again.
Yeah, absolute pleasure to have you back. So this week we are going to review And Justice for All by the mighty Metallica.
Only my
Um,
favorite album of all time. So,
uh,
decent choice there, Gavin, I would say.
yes, yes. So I'm going to roll with a bit of boring facts, and then we're going to roll into the tracks and
Boring.
No, there's no boring
boring.
facts about this record. So
So,
everything's enough.
so And Justice for All is the fourth studio album by American heavy metal band Metallica, released on August 25th, 1988 by Elektra Records. It was Metallica's first full-length studio album to feature Jason Newsted, following the tragic death of Cliff Burton, who was the previous bass player. Burton received a co-writing credit on To Live Is To Die, as Newsted followed bass lines Burton had recorded prior to his death. Recording took place from January 28th to May 1st, 1988. It was recorded in One-on-One Studio in LA, and the length, Dave, I think you know this off by heart, do you? Do you know the total
Uh,
length of the album?
no, actually, there was a time when I absolutely did. Will go on, tell me.
60, 65 minutes, 24 seconds.
I was just about to say 65 is in there somewhere. Yeah, I think there was
Good man.
definitely a point where I actually knew. I think I knew every track length on this
Yeah.
album. Like my mates would do that to me. They go, "How long is Eye of the Beholder?" And I'd be like, 6:36. It's not. I knew them all. Like I was that obsessed. Yeah.
So it was produced by James Hetfield, Lars Ulrich, and Flemming Rasmussen. The album has over 11 million sales, including streams to date, as far as I could find. 8 times platinum in the US. There was 3 singles from the album: Harvester of Sorrow, August 28th, 88; Eye of the Beholder, October 30th, 88; and one on January 10th, 89. That's some achievement, isn't it? Some
Yeah,
amount of sales.
unreal.
11 million.
Unbelievable.
Like
Yeah.
for an album as technical as this, for an album as divisive, even within the band as this, 11
Yeah.
million is a big number. Now, obviously, dwarfed by the next record, but we're focusing on the most
Yeah.
important one of all.
It reached number 6 on the Billboard 200 too. The artwork, a couple of quick notes on it, was created by Stephen Gorman, based on a concept developed by Hetfield and Ulrich. It depicts a cracked statue of Lady Justice bound by ropes and her scales overflowing with dollar bills.
I have the t-shirt on right now. Let's be honest. I
Yeah,
can't review
Dave.
this album without wearing it.
Rocking. Justice was nominated for Best Hard Rock Metal Performance in 89 Grammy Awards. Anyone know who won? They didn't win.
Grammys 89.
Nine.
God,
So
I
it would
bet
have
you
been
something
in
else. I
88,
bet you it wasn't even rock. If you're saying heavy
Jet
rock, I bet.
Jethro Tull.
Jethro Tull with the flute. I remember this. I remember. No, I don't remember
Yes.
it at the time, but I remember since then hearing about it. Yeah, Jethro Tull won Best
It
Hard
was
Rock.
very controversial, I think, at the time.
Yeah,
There was
yeah.
a lot of.
That's
Nothing
unreal.
wrong with
Yeah.
Jethro Tull, but don't put them in the heavy rock category beside.
No,
Yeah.
no, no. So the single one earned Metallica their first Grammy Award in 1990 for Best Metal Performance. And I think that was the first time that Best Metal Performance was a category in the Grammys,
Right.
I think. The video for one, which was shot in black and white by director Michael Salomon, the video story is intercut with scenes taken from the 1971 anti-war film Johnny Got His Gun. Due to the popularity of the music video being requested by fans and the band having to pay royalties to continue showing the video on MTV, Metallica bought the rights to the film.
Mm, that's a
So,
flex.
That
yeah,
that sounds like a very Lars Ulrich like
that is a
idea.
definite Lars Ulrich. Yeah, definite.
Yeah, what a video though.
So,
I mean, obviously Metallica's first ever like proper video. So to be able to see that on rotation on MTV was
yeah.
wild.
I remember the first time I seen that video. I remember coming home from school, I believe, and just like Enter Sandman. I probably seen Enter Sandman first, and then like I went back
Mm.
and just like it was just
It was iconic.
it was a
Yeah, I think
moment.
that's the coolest they've ever looked
Yeah,
was
yes,
was Justice Metallica. Like everyone was just like that because I had the T-shirt. Do you remember the T-shirt with the four faces?
Yes.
That
Yes.
was the original Justice T-shirt, and the kind of bubble writing and Justice for All, whatever. So I had
Yeah.
that, and I just remember, like, yeah, exactly, yeah. But I just remember there was no like, because every band had someone who wasn't. Let's face it, Kirk's the uncool one all the time. But at this point in 88, 89,
Oh yeah.
Kirk was at his absolute coolness peak.
He was at the peak. This
Yeah.
was his best album in my eyes, anyway, or ears. I think it is
But
anyway.
it was just cool with that like black tank top, black jeans, black guitar, and they were starting to put stickers on their guitars, and
Mm.
Yeah.
it was like Lars was topless most of the time,
Yeah,
just being
absolutely. I do remember as well on the video, myself and my friends being guitar nerds, even back then, kind of freaking out that Kirk had a Strat. We were like, "What was he playing? How could you play that in a Strat?" But then obviously it was an ESP Strat, and I'm sure he didn't play the riff on the Strat in the studio. But just the fact that he had something different, a black Strat with a
yeah,
white scratch plate, but
natural,
it was really
natural one at
cool.
the time, an ESP
Yeah, yeah,
400 series Strat, yeah.
yeah. It was just cool to see, a guitar player playing something that heavy, but to have
Yeah.
like that, you just associate with different kind of music. That was just cool.
And the double bass. The double bass stuck with me from that moment. Like
That's
it's
the reason I wanted to play double bass.
There you
yeah,
go.
yeah, like it's like that machine gun feel to it.
Yeah.
Like, Jesus Christ. So I'll just go over the track list in Blackened and Justice for All, Eye of the Beholder, One, Short of Straw, Harvester of Sorrow, Frayed Ends of Sanity, To Live is to Die, and Dyer's Eve.
Doesn't get better
Let's
than
get
that.
It doesn't get better than
No.
that, does it? So we can get into the tracks.
Yes, let's do it.
So we start at the start then.
Well, I'll tell you
Blackened.
what, right? Before we even start at the start, like
Yeah.
I think this is an album where every single song has the best intro they've ever done. Like
Didn't I
it's
just
an
say that?
album of
Yeah.
intro. Did you guys
I
think
ju-
that as well?
I just said it to Luke before we came on. I was like, this
Amazing.
album is the best album with all intros. Like every
Because, like,
intro.
every intro's amazing. Like, okay, obviously it starts with probably the greatest of all time, the reversed,
Yes.
guitars
Yes.
at the start of Blackened. And I'm sure everyone listening to this will know that. But just in case anyone doesn't, you can go on YouTube and you can find a million guitar players playing the actual forward bit that then gets reversed, and that's what we heard. But like again, like go back to '88 when I heard this first. Like uh, nobody knew. We didn't know. We didn't understand what we were just like. What is this sound? How are they doing that with a guitar? Like we didn't know it was reversed.
Yeah.
Like in '88, the amount of information out there was next to zero. You know what I mean? Like if it got mentioned in Metal Hammer, you were lucky. That was about the only insight you were ever going to get. But it was just so wild, such an amazing start to a
Yeah.
record. I think it might be the
Yeah.
best start to an album. I mean, look, I'll just preface this by saying I am full of hyperbole about this record. I'm gonna constantly say it's the best intro, it's the best song, it's the best.
Yes. Yes.
I'm
Yes.
sorry in advance to anyone who thinks this album is good. Like I'm sorry, I'm the
No.
person
This
that
album is amazing.
Yeah, this
it
is
is.
Holy Grail God
Yeah.
tier.
Yeah,
If
I
you
mean, look,
think this album is just good, you may just stop because this
yeah,
album is amazing.
there's plenty other podcasts to listen to. This is not the one
Yeah,
for you.
yeah, this is
But I
not the
do,
one for you.
I do think Blacken's intro is just ridiculous. Like,
Yeah, it
you know,
really is.
and then the fact that it jumps into a riff that even to this day, how many years later are we? Like 36 years later, I still struggle to play Blackened.
Yeah,
Like I can play everything on this record, but Blackened is so freaking hard.
Very intricate, isn't it?
It
Yeah.
really is.
And I just said to Luke before we came on too, I was trying to do some research and I kept coming across conflicting stories that I heard that Jason wrote the intro and then I heard that it was Jason's idea to reverse the intro.
Okay.
So I don't actually know which one is
Yeah,
true.
yeah. Look,
I think Luke, you were leaning on that it was Jason's, wasn't it?
I think so.
Yeah, Jason had something to do with it.
look. The thing about this record is, like, obviously, everyone talks about the mix. Okay, everyone talks about the fact that Jason's bass is absent in this, and I think we can all agree. Because I've heard the remix versions that very
And
talented people
justice for
have done.
Jason.
Yeah,
Yes.
and put it back and whatever, right? And obviously, those records are a better mixed. I mean, better in inverted commas, as in it's a more balanced mix. It is sonically through the frequencies. It's fuller and all those things. But that doesn't really matter. Like, this album is this album. It's a snapshot in time, done in 87, 88 until we got our ears on it. And okay, there's a million bits of politics and personality and psychology and, hazing and acceptance and all these things that come into what we hear in the end. But ultimately, forget all that, because what you hear is four lads and a bit of Cliff, so five lads, who are putting everything into a record to be, at the time, the most technical thing that thrash metal had seen, that metal had seen. I mean, there are obviously prog music and jazz. There's plenty of things more technical than this, but for our ears at the time, like this, you got to remember, right? Like I came across Metallica in '86 with Kill 'Em All, and it wasn't like today. You couldn't just go, "Oh, now I'll listen to the rest of Metallica." I had to go and buy the tape. I didn't have any money. I was 11, so I think I got Kill 'Em All in the summer. I got Ride the Lightning for Christmas. March '88, I got Puppets for my birthday, and then I bought Justice when it came out. So I had, in the space of like a year, I had consumed the first three records of Metallica, waiting for this new record to come out. So when it came out, I was fully versed in Metallica. Like, I'm that old that I was ready to go. When this record came out and Jason was in it, I was just like I can't explain the mind blowing nature of putting this on and looking at the artwork and, taking out the lyric sheet. And it's just, I mean, look, I suppose that thing as well for everybody. There's a formative time in your life, and there's a formative album for you. This is it for me. Like, this is the one. I was there at the time. That whole thing, like, it was a perfect kind of build up to that moment, that I just had a year and a bit of Metallica and heavy metal in general in my life. And then all of a sudden, this thing comes out, and you're just like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Sorry, the point I was making ages ago was Jason Newsted actually did loads on this record. Loads of writing, loads of ideas, loads of they may not be there in bass lines, but they're there in structure, and live it was unbelievable to see Newsted play this. You know what I mean? Like, so, like, I think, yeah, he's interviewed loads of times. He said how pissed off he was, how hurt he was, all those things. But he had such a big hand in the way this record sounded. And that intro, started Blackened, absolutely, I believe, is his.
Yeah. Like, funny, I was like giving it a good listen again. Like, especially I noticed in the Eye of the Beholder, like, there's a ton of bass in that song.
Yeah.
There's loads.
Yeah, like, I think people just, yes, of course, the bass is not in a lot of songs, but like, I think people just get a bit of news and just kind of run with it, and it sticks through history, and but there definitely is, like you said, there is parts of bass in it.
Also, the other question is, was it Newsted? I mean, Hetfield played most of the bass on everything from this album forward. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And obviously there are bits in fairness to Jason, and when Rob came in, it's totally different. But like, for this record, I think Lars and James had a vision, and nobody was changed. Fleming wasn't changing the vision. Jason wasn't changing the vision. The record label wasn't changing. Zazula wasn't. Yeah. Nobody was changing what they had, and they didn't need bass because of Hetfield's right hand and the guitar tone. And like, again, it's not a perfectly mixed record. It's not like you can sit there and go, oh wow, Chris Lord Alge has just gone in and made it like into the most beautiful thing. Like, it's not, but it is perfect for what they were trying to achieve.
And isn't there a story too that Lars was kind of fascinated with the guy that mixed Appetite for Destruction?
Oh.
And he had him over. Did you ever read this?
No, I didn't read this, but I did watch a very interesting interview that's on YouTube with Jason Newsted. It's about an hour long, and I think it's from 2004 or 2006 with a UK outlet. And he was asked about Justice and the lack of bass. And he talked about Lars and James being under immense pressure with touring commitments, but that there was a lot of flying to and from LA to New York, very little sleep, and a lot of
Jack Daniels.
What should I say? A lot of vitamins.
Yeah.
Vitamin C in particular, maybe, as he points to his nose in the interview.
Right.
But he talks about that, saying that they were under immense pressure with commitments,
Was
but
it
they were so focused on having this mixed that I believe they had it mixed in New York,
right?
from what I believe.
I read something that Lars was fascinated with the drum sound in that album with Guns N' Roses, and he flew the guy over while because Rasmus wasn't there for the first week, I believe, of production, first 4 weeks of production, and this guy came in and he was there for a while, but I think Lars and James ended up sacking him.
Mm.
Okay,
I did read something like that, but
that's interesting.
yeah,
Yeah,
he was fascinated with the drum sound, but
Well, I
that'd
think,
make
look,
sense though.
I just think this is Lars's best album, like
yeah,
by a mile. I think
Definitely.
his
Yeah.
playing is the best. His drum, I know Bob Rock came along and made his drum sound amazing, but to me, like this is Ulrich perfected. Like he was at the peak of his powers. Everything after this obviously got groovy, and that's all fine. I love that stuff too. But this was when, you know, he the songs changed tempo, the songs changed time
yeah.
signature. Like there's so much going on, and so much of it comes from Lars's playing. And yeah, I think he excelled at this. I think everyone's at the peak of their powers, but particularly him.
I agree 100%. I said something to Luke during the week. Like Luke's a drummer, so he knows a lot more than me. But
Fair to
like,
this fella, he does know more than we do.
yeah, but like I said to you, Luke, like the space, especially in this album, and like some songs, it's just right. It's just the right amount of space, and like he carries it with the drums in some of the songs.
I thought it was very interesting what you had said during the week about how clean and how crisp and
Yeah,
how precise
the
and to the
snare.
front of the mix
Mm,
his snare, but particularly his drum sound was. And I had mentioned to you that I could see how the bass would be a bone of contention.
yeah,
And you had mentioned, Dave, this album had a number of different, I'm lost for the word, but a number of different things associated with it, and ego being one of them. And just like we said, Hetfield and Ulrich had a vision for it, and they were going to see it through. And I think in that time, they wanted to have it so technical, but Lars also wanted to have his part showed off. James
Totally.
wanted to have his riffs heard. Not unlike the Sting and Stuart Copeland button heads of
Yeah.
this drum fill's gonna get me on the front of Modern Drummer, motherfucker.
yeah,
Yeah, they definitely did. And you can tell this album is full of incredible right hand riffs and then incredible drumming and incredible drum sound, incredible guitar sound. So yeah, I mean they own the band. They are the band at this point. And Kirk comes in and does solos and Jason can play
Cries in the
basketball
shower.
because yeah, there's not much for him to do. Um and I think yeah, Fleming's spoken about the mixing process and how it was a constant turn the bass up or turn the drums up. Okay, well then turn the guitar up. Well then turn the drums up. Well then turn the guitar up. And
yeah.
there's only so much headroom in an album, and eventually they just have to stop. But again, for its time, for its position in Metallica's discography, for the time in the world that it found itself, like
Yeah,
her.
yeah, 100%. Um, Blacken then, I found a fun fact, I don't know if you knew this, that Blacken was first performed live on September 11th in 1988 in Budapest in Hungary.
Wow, because I saw them. I've spoken of this with you guys before, but just in case anybody hasn't heard, this is my claim to fame. I saw them on the Justice Tour in November '88 in the
Right.
Top Hat in Dunleary, which was a dance hall and possibly a roller disco at some point. It's gone now, but it was literally, I'm gonna guess it was maybe a 600 person venue. Like it wasn't big, like it was properly
600.
small. And Danzig were supporting them. I was 13 years old. My dad, fair play to him, he drove myself, my friend James over. We went along. We bought a headband outside, black Metallica written on it. I still have it to this day. But it was my first ever gig. It was the first time I'd ever been to a concert of any description. Was the Justice Tour in '88, and to call that formative is an understatement. I mean, like, okay, look, I was 13. Do I remember every nuanced second of it? Of course not. Do you know what I mean? But I do remember literally feeling like physically blown away by the volume. You know, like the
Yeah.
Metallica at that point, they were Marshall stacks. The whole back of the stage was Marshall stacks. The statue was built up during the Lady Justice on the t-shirt I have here. It was built up during the show, and then during And Justice for All, it all collapsed. And obviously, that's a stage thing. It was my first ever gig. Like, so I was scared of all the people. People were fighting and spitting and moshing, whatever. I turned around at one point, and Glenn Danzig was standing 2 feet from me during Metallica. I didn't understand how a rock star was allowed to be there. The music literally, as I said, physically blew me backwards because it was so loud. And then the stage started falling apart. I nearly started crying. Like, it was mental. But like, the fact that you're saying the first time they played most of these songs would have been on the European leg of the tour, because it was the first bit of the tour. And the album only came out in August. They played Battery the first time in September. I saw them in November. So you're literally talking about probably maybe the 10th, 12th, 15th time they've ever played these songs.
Yeah.
When I'm standing there in front of them and like trying to understand what the hell is going on. But oh man, Blackened is just, there's so much like I don't know what it is. That line, fire to begin whipping dance of the dead, right? That line and the way he delivers that. Like, his vocals have always been brilliant, but I remember the first time I heard it, and like, he's like, fire to begin, and whatever, the way it just hits, I was like literally just sitting there going, like, what's happening? Like, he's so angry, you know, like, more than ever. Like, and yeah, that lyric just always just cut through and smacked me in the face. Like, I think the vocal production on this is unreal.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's some of James's best stuff as well. His delivery, as you said, the anger and the venom in him is just
totally.
Yeah, it's unreal what came after it. Even I'd love to know, Dave, did he have that ESP MX220, the Eat Fuck Explorer, on the European leg, or would he have collected it in Japan as they went on? Or would he have got it previously? I must dig into that a wee bit.
These are the
more.
13-year-old details I did not pay attention to at the time. Someone will know online, but I did not
because it's in the one video. So I'm like, well, that video probably had to be done before they went on tour, or in December of 88.
When did it come out? It came out.
It was 89 was the video.
Did you say?
Yeah, January 10th, 89 was one.
So even that tied into the attitude, like the middle finger inlays on the guitar.
Yeah.
You know, everything is just anger personified was James Hetfield at the time.
That's it. And if you go to YouTube and search like Justice Tour James, like, you'll see compilation videos of how fast he was playing. I mean, there's that famous one, I think it was 86, it's Creeping Death in 86. And you're just going, I'm sorry, like, nobody can play this fast, this correct, you know, like, I can play it fast, but it's not right. It sounds like Floppy Joe. Do you know what I mean? But James was just, but 88, I don't know, you know, I haven't never checked which one was faster, but to have all of the previous back catalog to know, and then to add this record into it, like, and to know I mean, if you want to move on to Justice, but like,
we're going to Justice
for All, like, they don't play that song. Like, it's 9 and a bit minutes. It's actually my favorite song to play on guitar, and I've been playing guitar since I was 12 years old. And my favorite song to play on guitar from start to finish is In Justice for All. Like, it is just, it's such a perfect thrash metal song. People give out about the duration. I'm the opposite. I'm like, it's the perfect length. It's been expertly put together to bring you all the way through all the little bits. And I just think, like, you know, the fact that they don't play that tells you how tough, you know, those songs are to play, but also just the sheer duration. I think Lars said it, something like they played on that tour and he just went, I'm never doing that again. It's like, it's 10 minutes of, like, you don't, like, Metallica have always written long songs, but like, even a long Metallica song live will be 5 minutes, 6 maybe. You know, a 6:30 song at Metallica live speed will be 5.5. But like, to do 10 minutes of Justice and then have to play something else is like, I don't know how he ever did it.
It would be mentally draining because that song's actually very technical.
Oh
Mm.
yeah.
You know, like there's a lot
Totally.
going on in it for everyone.
I love the intro again.
Yes. Clean
Like
intro into the heavy stuff.
two vibes, there's one nice, you know,
But
strumming
the
along.
harmonies of it before it goes into the real heavy.
That's what I'm on about.
Yes.
I could picture like two guys walking. I like almost like that Renaissance, that feel of the first guitar, and then like there's a guy on the other side, the field just kicking the door there.
And then they
This
turn
is
into Beavis and Butthead
oh
marching, and they
man,
just
it's
Yeah, but
just
you're right
like
though.
it's
When that
like two
heavy,
personalities just
it is totally.
bang.
And when that
Yeah.
heaviness comes in with the stop start, the jing,
Choo, choo,
jing,
choo, choo. Yeah.
jing, jing, jing,
Yeah.
jing, jing, jing. You're like, it's just ridiculous. Like, and also talk about intros. If you argue that the intro is the bit until the vocals start, which you don't have to, but if that's what you believe, there's 2 minutes of intro before,
yes,
Yeah.
like over 2 minutes. Like it takes so long for James to start singing in this, but again, like perfection. And then
It's
lyrically,
magic.
this is such a great song. I mean, look, I don't know much about the late 80s judicial system in America or in California, if that's what they're singing about, but like just the anger, the feeling of kind of being let down and I mean 'cause
Corruption and
corruption, exactly. Everyone knows, no matter where you live and what you're going through, those things exist in your life, and to hear it put this way is just so good.
I think his lyrics definitely compared to maybe like Kill 'Em All was a bit more kind of juvenile and stuff. He really peaked, I think, on
Mm.
this album.
Injustice.
Matured, really matured
Yeah,
on his lyric
I
writing.
think Puppets is up there as well. It's
Puppets and
absolutely
Justice for me, yeah.
phenomenal
I think,
lyricism,
look,
but
I think, yeah,
Justice is unbelievable.
Kill 'Em All, he was doing heavy metal, let's be honest,
Yeah, yeah,
the
yeah.
NWO BHM, so Phantom Lord and Jump in the Fire and all those things. But, and Ride the Lightning, in fairness, there's some great ones on there, but also there's the imagery of like creeping death is it's from the Bible, and Escape, they've often talked about how they just wrote that for a single or whatever, and all
Yeah,
these things. But then when you get to Puppets and you get to Justice, you can really hear James starting to go, no, I have things I want to say.
yeah.
And Justice for All is absolutely one of them. Like,
He must have been is a smart guy, like
Oh, he'd be very intelligent. You
very
can tell by
intelligent.
how he carries himself,
Yeah, yeah,
how witty he is.
yeah. He's
oh
very
yeah,
smart, very, very smart. So we'll move into Eye of the Beholder. I think this is a very underrated song.
yes, totally agree.
I
Like first off, let's go
really,
the intro fades up.
ah,
I mean,
yes,
because again, I remember the first time I heard it, I thought uh I had
Your
a
sound system was
boombox. I thought my
broken.
boombox was broken. Like, because obviously
You talk about this
blackened
all
yeah,
the time.
justice, and then you're like, oh
yeah,
no. I was like
Turn
trying
it
to look at
up.
and like, don't forget, back in those days, I don't know what you had, but like I had a separate, so it was like tape, radio, record, and then the speakers, and I was checking the cables at the back of the speakers, going, is this? And then eventually going, oh no, it's coming up, it's coming up. Oh, okay, okay, yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And then like
The song hasn't been played from what I've seen since July 14th, '89. Hasn't been played
what?
live. Now,
Wow.
I hope that's right. I did try to dig it up, but yeah,
Do you know why
yeah,
that might be? I don't think Lars. Well, sorry. First of all, for the whole album, I think Lars is really disrespectful about this record. Okay, I think every time he was
yeah. He
interviewed
shits
about
on it.
Justice,
Yeah,
he kind of shits on it, right? And okay,
yeah,
I get it, right? He went and worked with Bob. He turned into this groovy drummer, obviously load, reload, all whatever. And he's a far, inverted commas, better drummer, I suppose, in his eyes. Whereas I'm the opposite. I think like this record is Lars at his peak, as we've said, but I think he hates this song because I think the way Metallica write songs. So I don't know if everyone knows this, but like the lads all put together back then, it was tapes of riffs, just riff ideas, riff ideas, riff ideas, and they basically go to Lars, and then Lars is a genius, and he structures, okay, riff number 72 from James's tapes with Kirk's number 43 from the summer tapes he sent me with the idea I had about the thing, and all of a sudden it becomes a song. But I think if you listen to Eye of the Beholder, it's made up of, you can almost tell it's been made up of riffs written in different places. There's different time signatures, different tempos. There's like a 3/4 feel and a 4/4 feel. And I think Lars has said, I could be wrong on this, but I think he said he just thinks this song is like not good. He thinks it's like a patchwork. Whereas the other stuff that even though they write them that way, it doesn't necessarily feel that way when it comes out in the end. And I think maybe that's why they haven't played it since that kind of first run of the Justice tour, which is a shame because what a song.
Yeah, like I made a note, like it's actually nearly impossible not to kind of at least give a slight head nod to this
Oh
song.
yeah,
You know,
especially in the chorus, albeit very
yeah,
unorthodox that it has that 3 4 6 8 feel.
yes,
Da, 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 da,
D- d-
da,
d-
da, ba, 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 da,
yeah.
da, 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 da.
The only thing, as I
And like
said to
you
you,
can't help but start to
no,
swing forward and move.
maybe,
Oh, it does.
maybe,
And the
maybe
guitar,
a slight stink face, maybe a little stink
Yeah,
yeah,
face.
but because the guitar is on the upstrokes as well, like
Yeah,
out. You're like, what? Like Metallica again, they're not known for that kind of stuff. So it just stands out a lot, I think. There's great harmonized guitar all over this record in particular,
yeah,
but I think especially the harmonized guitars that happen just before the solo on this
yeah. The pre-chorus.
pre-chorus, yeah, are just so good, so
Yeah.
good.
The only thing I'm not mad on, I said it to Luke too, is like there seems to be a slight kind of effect or something on Hetfield's
Oh,
voice.
yeah, he's got chorus on the vocal, and I love that. No, I know exactly what you're talking about. I actually
Yeah,
One of my favorite things about his vocals on this record is that little bit of that song. I know you don't like it, but I'm the opposite because I just think it's what happens when he jumps into doesn't matter what you see because
yeah,
then you realize, oh, what he's been doing there is kind of another personality and it's swirly and it's all that kind of stuff. And then when he
okay,
just comes in with that, like, and as you said, on that kind of upstroke guitar, doesn't matter what you see, you're like, oh my God. And that's all super clean, like the whole
yeah,
rest of the record. I just love that contrast.
yeah, yeah,
I'm after
yeah. He called my bluff
YouTube
there.
Oh, yeah.
Eye of the Beholder, and there is a performance of it from 2017 in Baltimore.
Yeah, so
Nice.
retract that statement.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
yeah,
is
but no,
hard.
but I think the thrust of what you're saying is true, which is that it's not a song that they play. I'm sure if you go through, there's loads of people who do this. The most played Metallica songs live. I mean, we all know one is going to be in the top five. Our Harvester
Yes.
is going to be in the top five, but that's it for this record. Like you know, Blackened. Yeah, I'm sure Blackened is in the top 50 to 30 maybe,
Did we
but
get
there's
black in
no
the
way.
Madrid?
We did get Blackened in Madrid,
We
yeah.
did, yeah.
You do,
I
no,
think
friends, you get Blackened. You do get Blackened when you're out, but you get Harvester and you get one.
Harvester was unbelievable. It was third on the first
Oh,
night or something before it even
yeah,
got dark.
Yeah,
yeah,
Hetfield still had the leather sleeveless on him, and it was just like it was only getting warmed up.
yeah.
yeah. I
His
mean,
vocals were
but
fucking
that's why Eye of
amazing.
the Beholder, so a song like this to me becomes important because it kind of only exists in this format. You
In
know what I
this
mean?
album,
There's,
yeah.
there's just this recording of it, and that's all you're ever really going to get,
I
unless.
love I love the tone too. I love the tone of the guitar. It's just
Oh,
so sweet.
yeah.
I remember like I think it was this song. Like I have this vague memory of being in my bedroom, like you said, with the turning the volume up and like it just lit a fire inside me. This song, like, I think I started kicking shit around my room.
You had to brush up against it.
Just
Shut up!
it did something. Like it really just blew my mind. This album
Oh yeah.
in a
Oh,
good way.
definitely.
So let's get into one then. The video, of course, we did talk about it again. The
You
guitar,
said
the
you said
drum.
black and white, but don't forget it was kind of blue and white. Like whatever way they shot it, whatever way they filtered the cameras, it was black and white, sure, but there was this blue hue to it.
Mm,
And I just
yeah.
think that stood out for me. A black and white video by Metallica was an obvious choice. But if you look again, watch it again.
Okay.
There's a tone to the black. It's not black, black. Do you know what I mean? And there's something about that was just cool. But yeah, look, I think there's so much about this song. It's one of the songs. I suppose these crossover songs are difficult sometimes. Like, Sandman, One, Nothing Else
Yeah.
Matters. There's a song
Oh,
that other non-metalheads have heard, and you're like, ugh, these people think
yeah.
this song is good. We should hear Eye of the Beholder. You know what I mean? We gatekeep a little bit, But at the same
Yeah.
time, one is probably of the crossover songs, one is the one I'd be most proud of, if you know what I mean. Like, look,
Yes, I know what you
Manners,
mean.
Sandman, Thin Lizzy cover, Whiskey in the Jar. Yeah, they're great and all the rest. But like of those kinds of songs, this is the one for
It's
me.
the pick of them.
Still,
Yeah.
it still retains, yeah, everything that it was supposed to be at the time. And I think this has got like it's got, I think, their best clean tone ever all the way through. It's particularly the intro. After obviously the kind of shout and explosion stuff, which we now know live just works so well.
So
Um, but then I think that clean tone is just unbelievable, and it's what I love about it is it's so achievable if you know what goes into it when you're at home and you've got your own setup and you've got EMGs, if you've got like a, an 81 and 85, you can completely get that tone. And it's so exciting. I have the headset and a guitar I built. So the headset going through like a downloader from the cloud, someone's made the perfect, one clean intro sound. You play it, you're just like, oh my God, I've got it. I'm in one, I'm in Metallica. Like, oh,
That old Boss chorus pedal from the late
yeah,
80s.
yeah,
The blue one.
absolutely.
Oh yeah.
Like even like what like they harmonized clean guitar on this
Yeah.
song. It's not something they did very often. Um, and so all the way through the verses, you've got this kind of they're playing different things, Kirk and James, and then Kirk does those dinky little, they're like half clean solos, in those kind of sections after the verses. And I just think there's so much detail in this. And then obviously we get to, I guess, the world famous kind of the trashiest section of any song ever.
Yeah.
We hit those double bass pedals and that riff, and like it just to be able to write a song that goes from something
Yeah.
as clean as that to as heavy as it gets without it feeling like it takes a massive right turn. It doesn't. You know what I mean? It's like
Just
it
grows.
builds and grooves and it's ready to get there. And then when it gets there, just the release is unreal. And then you have Kirk solo, which is just like insane.
Yeah.
It's unreal that you say that, Dave, about the sort of clean. Do you know when it builds? Because you have the first one is very clean. There seems like there's a wee bit more gain or boost,
Yeah,
a little bit more dirt in the middle one, which I actually think is one of the best parts he's ever written.
yeah,
That
totally.
middle solo is just
Yeah.
fabulous. It's so melodic. And then the
Yeah.
last one is just like an assault of a turret gun or
I know. Yeah.
I mean,
you
and think
know?
about like the pressure on Kirk, I always think to write solos. And I think, look, there are more technical guitar players than Kirk. There's no question about it. But I think his sensibility, his ability to choose the right solo for the song is his actual real talent. Look, he's an amazing player. But when you're faced with a riff like that, like, you know, like that's going at a million miles an hour and it's so sitting on E, and it's like, okay, Kirk, over to you. Like you'd be tempted to go, well, if the riff is really fast, I might do something swelly and melodic or whatever. And he's like, no, I'm just going to go faster and like finger tap his life away at that speed, knowing that you're going to have to replicate that live when Hetfield's right hand has gone another 16 BPM faster. But like, I just think, yeah, his choice of solos has always been his strongest suit, I think, and this is just, yeah, it's such an epic example of it.
Yeah. I think that's an absolutely brilliant description of
Yeah,
that
no,
song.
100%. Like the solos in this album in particular are just
Well,
absolutely unreal.
the next song has my favorite Kirk solo ever in it.
Yeah. Shortest Straw.
Yes.
What a song. Yeah, I think it's one of my favorites. I couldn't. I don't think I could name a favorite song, but it's definitely up there on
Yeah,
this
I would
list.
have to
Great
agree.
riff. One of the
Yeah, oh, that
heaviest riffs on the
slidey
album.
post intro riff that
It's just
so
Yeah,
ridiculous. So
it's
ridiculous.
just so good. It's yeah,
And again, it's
everything.
like the lyric in I Behold doesn't matter what you say. The one witch hunt modern day, like that
Yeah,
stuff. Me, like again, just smacked me in the head. I was just like, this is ludicrous. Like, and don't
yeah,
forget, sorry, because of my age, the first four songs was side one. So shortest straw for me was the start of side two. I don't know, you
oh
guys
man.
were quite experiencing it that way at the time, but in '88, like it was like one smashed you, that solo, that ending, that like you're like, oh my God, okay, what's coming
back
next?
then.
You're like nothing's gonna be better than that. And then I think an absolutely better song comes on, the shortest straw, just it's just
Kicks you in the teeth.
ridiculous, that song is.
Yeah, like that venom. That word
Oh
comes to
yeah,
mind. Just venom. Yeah.
injection of venom.
And again, his vocal delivery it's peak Hetfield.
It is.
Yeah, I love how he used his voice in particular on this album as an instrument. Drawing out
Yeah.
certain words, drawing out syllables that really worked with the cadence of
Yeah.
the tracks.
Yeah.
Just unreal.
Yeah,
Yeah, no.
I think a lot of metal vocalists don't get the respect they deserve because of their vocal style is so aggressive that if you listen to somebody like a really accomplished vocalist talk about nuance, like Billie Eilish, for example, absolutely phenomenal vocalist from the point of view of deciding what to do in a certain scenario. And I think she's so worth exploring if you love music at all, but particularly if you love like, intricate music and like some of the things there's a song she got at the moment and she does these little oohs at the end in the second verse and Birds of a Feather is the song, sorry. And if you listen to the second verse of Birds of a Feather, right? So she sings dinna dinna da ooh, makes this little ooh sound. The second time she goes dinna dinna da ooh, and it's a semitone down. It's the stupidest thing, but the level of genius to put that second thing a semitone down, just because no one other than nerds like me and other people who love black will go, oh, it's the semitone. Everyone just goes, their ears just go, ear candy. I don't know what's happening, but it's ear candy. James James is absolutely like that on this record, and metal vocalists in general. Like, and you think I just said that line, witch hunt, modern day, right? Like, witch is such a powerful word in its imagery, but also like in the sound of the TCH, that sound, witch
Yeah.
hunt. Like he could sing anything, but the fact that he chooses those words, at that moment, like, there's so much subtlety going on,
Yeah.
particularly in this record. I mean, all through Metallica stuff, I think, but particularly in this, like, there's so much ear candy. But again, to most people, it's just, oh, this is a wall of noise and I don't like it. But like, if you actually listen to it, the decisions they make lyrically, where the crash hits, Lars was putting accents on things that nobody else was putting on at certain points.
Yeah.
Like, you'll know all that. But like, I just think there's so many correct decisions. And I think Shortest Straw is one of the best examples of that on this whole
Yeah.
record.
Yeah, 100%. I couldn't agree more.
The crashes on the two in
Oh,
Shortest
always
Straw
on the
with
two,
snare
yeah.
are just unbelievable.
But like, people weren't doing that. Lars was doing that. Like, it's not as though, he was stealing that from anyone else. Or like, he was just going, I'm putting the crash on the two. It was like, what?
Yeah, very unique thing of
Yeah.
his. It's one of those Larsisms.
Yeah. Which are great. I think they're great.
Yeah.
I do think, as I said, this is my favorite solo ever by Kirk because I think it actually kind of contains all of his personalities. Like, every section of it is like a different solo. And there's even that bit where you think it's over because the song stops.
Yeah.
But there's another little section to go. And I just think, like it's one of those ones. There's a couple of solos in the world that I would listen to just the solo over and over and over again. There's a Nuno one, there's a Steve Vai one, and there's this Kirk one in Shortest Straw. And if I could just listen to those three things for the rest of my life, I'd be quite happy. Like,
that's deadly. So then into Harvester of Sorrow.
intro.
It just gets better and better and better and better.
Yeah.
Like that drum intro as well.
Yeah, but whatever about the drum intro.
I know.
It's just, isn't it that live thing where just before it starts to get heavy and you get Hetfield going,
oh, that growl.
And that'll make the hair stand on the back of your neck. And then the stomp starts and the whole crowd's moving at one. You get the crashes with the snare again.
Totally.
China, it's just like you would lift the roof off any building with that.
Yes. And I remember having a Walkman, or actually I wasn't allowed to call it that because my dad worked for Philips, which was a rival. It was a personal stereo. But I had a personal stereo, and so I listened to that all the time, listen to this album all the time. But again, if you haven't listened to it in a while, you might remember this, or if you haven't listened to it in headphones in a while, you wonder, there's a really scary, swirly kind of
Yeah.
screamy thing over the intro. So as the intro progresses, there's this kind of like, or like it's mental. And I remember listening to it on headphones and in my room, like at night, you know what I mean? Because it was too late to play it on the stereo or whatever. And taking them off, kind of going, what's happening? Like thinking there was something in the room making this noise. 'Cause I hadn't listened to it on headphones before. Oh,
Yeah.
it's just unbelievable. Like,
And then that growl, like, ooh, it just starts low and just, whoop. Oh, it's such, like, the way this was put together is just unbelievable.
And
Yeah.
this song is a great example of what you said, Dave, about Kirk choosing the perfect solo to play.
yes.
Hmm.
You know, he didn't just go mad with it.
No.
Really melodic, a lot of sustain, has that lovely wee run in it, and
Yeah.
then finishes with that absolute bitch of a run to play that I still struggle with. And then into one of the second heaviest sections on the whole album,
Yes.
and the harmony in that is just
Oh,
to die
Yeah,
for.
the
it's
harmony.
so good.
Unbelievable.
And then it live, there's two moments I look for in every Metallica gig. I became aware of it in Cunning Stunt. What was that? 80, 96? I think it was 96 in the point, or maybe 90, whenever the stage collapsed, whatever show that was.
Yeah, Conan stunts.
Cunning Stunts. Yeah, I can't remember what year it was. But anyway, whatever year that was when I became aware of the bit in For Whom the Bell Tolls, where James goes, "It's the last time you wail." And everything stops, but they put a delay on his voice and it goes, well, right? I remember the next time they played the point, I was sitting down because I was getting older. I was sitting down and there was a dad and his kid in front of me. Now the kid was probably 15. The dad was like in his 40s, whatever. I was probably in my 20s. When it came to For Whom the Bell Tolls, I'm a really annoying person to be near at a gig because I sing as loud as the PA. I've got one of those voices, and obviously Hetfield, like he's my number one guy. So I've got every single nuance he's ever had. I can do it. But I remember when that bit came on, and I was like, and I kind of cut my mouth. I was like, "Last time you well," and I sang the delay, and the dad turned around to me. He was like, "Oh my god, you know this so well." I was like, "Yeah, I do. I do." But I think Harvester has the second best one of those, which is said their prayers. Yeah, and all like
That's it.
that.
What the
Yeah,
spit as the cue
Yeah,
when
he
he just does a
Yeah. Yeah.
it's
Yeah. And then that snap.
yeah, just the two
Jesus.
snare hits to come in with it.
Yeah. Yeah. I think did they play that in the Russian gig in Moscow?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
it's third.
I think he actually does the
Sandman, Creeping Death, and then into Harvester. And it was always introduced. It's like, get your eyeballs up on Jason. He's going to show you what the fuck to do.
Yeah, that's right. I can only imagine what that wall of sound was like back in Dunleary, Dave. Jesus
again,
Christ.
I can't remember whether that all have said their prayers pause was a thing at that point. It probably wasn't because they were only a couple of months into playing it. But Christ, yeah, I genuinely do remember Harvester of Sorrow. I remember because that intro riff is so heavy. So and
it's actually quite a dark song too, though. With the
it is, yeah, lyrically it really is.
Yeah. We'll leave that as it is, but it's a hell of a song. A hell of a song. Anything else to say on that one?
No, just that it's probably the best song on the album. It's one of the best songs ever. It's just unbelievable.
Yeah.
But again, talking about that thing, talking about the thing
and
of flipping.
It's standard tuning.
Yeah, standard tuning.
You don't
it sounds
realize
like
this.
No, they don't. Because you think about like, Sabbath True is so heavy, but obviously is in D. And this song absolutely sounds like it could be in D or C sharp. And no, it's not. It's in standard. But yeah, but I think like, that thing of flipping the record or putting on the second side of the cassette back in '88, you start off with the shortest straw, as I said, probably one of my top 3 Metallica songs of all time. But then you go into Harvester of Sorrow. Like it's not like it never dips. It never dips. Like it's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous. It really is ridiculous. It's so fucking good.
What have we got then? One of my favorites.
One of your favorites, Luke. Freight Ends of Sanity.
Yo.
Wizard of Oz.
Yeah. I have to say one thing. I was watching a video on a guy that was doing something similar to what we're doing right now, and he classed himself as living on the Bible Belt in America.
Nice.
And he played this song with his girlfriend, and they were in her house, and she's like, "Whoa, whoa, 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 whoa! Turn that off! Turn that off!" And he's like, "What's up?" It's like, "My favorite band's Metallica." No, he's like, "That sounds like demons."
Well, here's the thing. I didn't realize until when I started going out with Tracy, 2000. And I would say it's maybe 2001. So I'd say I was 13 years listening to Metallica. Listening to And Justice for All before I knew that the Friday Dance Sanity intro was from Wizard of Oz. Because I just like that's Metallica. That's what they did. Oh, we go.
Whoa.
Yeah, brilliant, perfect, great, amazing. And then my girlfriend, now wife, her favorite movie is The Wizard of Oz. So one day we just put The Wizard of Oz on VHS because that's what we did back in 2001. And the freaking song comes on. I'm like, wait. Why is the Freight Ends of Sanity in a movie made in 1939? Like, never thinking it could possibly be the other way around. It was like, no. Hang on. Why are they playing Metallica? This doesn't make sense. I had no idea, but hey, you live and learn.
Yeah. One of your favorites, Luke?
Yeah, just for the intro and just with that bump,
Yeah.
and that live thing as well with the stop.
Yeah.
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 It's just so
And then actually
heavy.
into that verse riff, which is really weird as a Metallica riff. I think the kind of like it's not like anything else on the rest of the record. I think it really stands out. It's actually more Mustaine-y. Dave Mustaine, it's more Megadeth. Dave Mustaine stuff. If you forget the vocals on it, just listen to the verse underneath what's happening. And I think it's very Dave Mustaine. And, obviously there's no doubt that Hetfield would have been influenced by just the sheer amount of time they spent together. But it's just not what I expect from Metallica, and particularly not from this record. But it's really groovy, really chordy. It's kind of a bit of a departure there. So that always stuck out.
And
lyrically, sorry, you've got the reference to Struggle Within in this song.
Yes, of course.
And then you have the song Struggle Within on the next record. So I think there's definitely there are themes coming through this,
Will we go on to Live As Today?
Yeah.
And one thing before we do about the solo on this. Next time you listen to this song and listen to the solo, picture Kill 'Em All. I think this is the most Kill 'Em All solo on Justice. But I don't think any of the rest of them are, because I think Kirk was evolving and everything was new. But I think this solo could easily have been on Phantom Lord or Jump in the Fire or Metal Militia or something. If you just go back and listen to it again, just listen to the solo, Freight Ends of Sanity, and think about his black and white V, on stage in a 300-person venue in California. I think it speaks so much to Kill 'Em All, that solo. That's the only thing I want to say about that one.
Cool, yeah.
Yeah, we'll have to listen to that.
A lot of wah pedal, isn't there?
Yeah.
Have a listen. See,
So To Live Is Today, I have to say, after going back listening to this album for the last few days, I think it's my favorite instrumental. I always would have said Orion, but it's giving Orion a run for its money for me personally.
It's my favorite.
Yeah. It's your favorite, Dave?
Yeah, I put it ahead of Orion. I think it is. And look, I don't know if there's emotion in that. I don't know if the fact that it was Cliff's kind of last.
It's very emotional, isn't it? It's very emotional.
I just feel when it all drowns out and that first A minor hits of the clean tone, as you said, Dave, it's like it just bring a tear to your eye. And when Kirk starts to bring in his lead bits as well.
Yeah. And I think
very emotional.
Is this the only James solo on the record? I think it is. I think James does the big solo towards the end. And you can always tell a James solo versus a Kirk one. Like, you know them straight away. And they just sound brilliant. Like, he just makes great decisions. Not an incredibly technical lead player, but just right decision, right time, and it comes. Go on.
No, feel. Sorry.
Feel. Yes, that's a great word.
Feel is incredible.
Yeah. But I found you can actually feel the grief in
Yeah,
some of the playing.
Oh yeah,
You can,
yeah,
you know, them first maybe minute and a half, you can feel the pain and grief
and
that the
even
band are going
that really
through.
heavily affected breakdown, like the
Yeah,
full solo, like that kind of, it's got loads of effects on it, and it's really kind of
yeah.
teeny stuff. But
The
like,
swells.
oh, the volume swells come in. Oh my God, it's like, because I for years I assumed that was like a cello or something. I didn't know, and then one of my mates Dunica was like, "No, that's a volume swell." I was like, "What's a volume swell?" That was the first time I heard it. But but just to think about what that does to that section of that song, like the way that builds emotion, the way strings do build emotion, and
Yeah,
we're just doing it with a volume swell. It's just, yeah, it's insane.
yeah. Yeah, like I just made a note, like I really feel sad in the melodies listening to this one, like the pain that the guys were in, you know, it just must have been brutal, you know.
Oh,
Especially with the fact that I think Cliff had a couple of bass lines written in this track.
no, have you heard the kind of 5 minute "To Live Is to Die" Cliff thing that he wrote? Like it's on YouTube. Like it's, so he's written the whole chord progression and the bass solo bits on it. So if you search out like "To Live Is to Die" Cliff Burton solo, I think it is, you'll hear it, and like, okay, it's not the whole song. Those lads have obviously gone to work, but they've absolutely taken that bit and built the whole song out,
Song around it.
that
Okay.
one
Yeah.
bit that Cliff had. It's just, it's a really special moment in that record, like, because you've been pelted in the face by everything they've
Oh
got,
yeah, man.
and then
Yeah.
you get this
This
kind
one's
of,
saying, "Come on down here, sit beside me, take a rest."
but
yeah.
again,
Honestly,
what
it's like
is
paying
it 10 minutes
homage to
again?
the fallen
It's
brother.
it's like 9 minutes or something, isn't it? It's
Nine
nine.
something. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean,
yeah.
that's
It's
that is a long instrumental when you think about it, like Orion was as well. Like it's a lot to ask someone to
mm,
go through and listen to that length of song with no chorus, with no vocals, with no,
yeah.
that one spoken piece. But God,
Yeah,
it's
is
just,
the spoken piece is a poem or something from some, is it a German guy or
I
something?
think, I don't know, I can't remember who the poem was, but I know Cliff had written it in
Yeah, it was
his
it
in
was
his
his
book.
favorite
Like he,
poem. Yeah,
yeah, it was, and he had written the start. It's the start of the poem. He had written that, and then he had changed bits, and these were
yeah,
definitely found in his kind of, his
yeah,
notepads or whatever, and they obviously made it work. But again, as an homage to Cliff, it's just, yeah, it's amazing.
yeah. I love the solos on this one as well. It's class. Um, Dyer's Eve,
Oh, ridiculous! Just a relentless assault
tempo,
from
tempo,
start to
tempo,
finish.
tempo.
A
Like Luke,
tempo
as
of 194 BPM
I
to
was just
be
gonna say,
exact.
talk to us as a drummer about this, because I think it's one of Lars's best performances. But I doubt, like, I know he couldn't do it now. I doubt he could even do it then. Like, obviously he did it for the record. I'm sure he played it a few times. I must have heard it when I was at the gig. But like, Eloy Casagrande could probably do it. But who else could play this?
Eli has done a cover of it.
Has he?
It's something that I put myself to the test of last year, was to get up to be fit to play that the whole way through with the double pedals. Achieved it, thankfully, but to push it or to get a cover of it, something I'll hopefully do is put a cover of it out at some stage.
Jeez.
But because Eli has done it, it feels like let the master work do his thing here. But relentless, Dave. It really does take you and tear you a new one.
Holy,
I would say Lars probably recorded that in multiple takes. It's
has
hard
to
to
have,
know. I don't want
has
to
to.
like diss him, but I couldn't imagine he done the thing the whole way
It's
through.
intensity to the max the whole way.
Oh yeah, it's just
Do you think
ridiculous.
Mario would be fit to do it
Oh,
from
Mario would rip it, yeah, yeah.
Gojira?
Yeah. Look, there's plenty of drummers nowadays, but you got to remember everything Metallica were doing was cutting edge. Like they were the first
Yeah,
to do songs this fast. They were the first to do lyrics this heavy. They were the first to do an album with this length, this many, technical. I mean, don't forget, one of my other favorite albums of all time in the whole world, definitely top five, Justice and Dark Angels. Fuck, have I forgotten the name of it now? Edit this bit out. You can tell I'm tired. I got up at 5:30 this morning. Uh,
uh,
Dark Angel, Time Does Not Heal. Yes. So my two of my favorite albums of all time, this and Dark Angel's Time Does Not Heal. And Dark Angel put a sticker on their album when they were bringing it out that said,
Oh
This
yeah, it
album
does.
contains 267 riffs, and the whole point of saying that was it's more than justice. Like
Yeah.
Metallica were literally, they were taking bands with Gene Hoglan in it and going, we're the most technical band around. And it took people like that to go, well, hang on, let's get more technical than Metallica. But Metallica did it first. Like, that's the
Yeah.
thing about it.
Set
So,
the bar.
yeah, Dyer's Eve absolutely sets the bar, as you said, Luke, for 194 BPM thrash songs. This is the first one. This is the one that everyone else has to live up to. And nowadays, yeah, there's 15,000 drummers
Yeah,
that
yeah,
could play
yeah.
the song in their sleep.
This is
But
30 years ago.
that's it. Exactly. It was like whatever it was. Yeah. What are we now? 2024. So it's 36 years, 8 years ago.
36. Yeah.
6 years ago. Um, like think about that for a second. 36 years ago. Think about what cars were on the road 36 years ago. Think about what an 88D car looked like. Like
Yeah,
Lars was doing this when that was the cutting edge of technology. Like
Yeah, my
there was
God,
barely
yeah.
a computer, and this is what he's doing on tape, slicing, taping. Like so, if he did piece it together, fair fucks to him because it was 1987 when he did it, or 1988 when he recorded, whatever it was. Like
Yeah.
it's wild to think that level of precision of playing of technicality was within their grasp at that era, and it's yeah, I have so much respect for everything.
another
Yeah.
real nerdy drummer thing to say is, on that note, he would have played it on two 24-inch kicks. So
Yes,
to play that tempo on those bigger drums in
yeah,
order to get that note
Whack.
through with probably no triggers at the time,
no, didn't exist.
all that air that you have to move is just ridiculous.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally.
Yeah.
Would they have sampled over at that stage, Dave? I know they talked about it in the Black Album, but I couldn't
No,
imagine Justice would have had any samples on top.
no, no. First of all, I don't think it was really
Um,
a runner in terms of
okay.
technology at the time, and also almost more importantly than that, I think like you're recording it with Fleming Rasmussen, who is amazing, but he's not Bob Rock. He's not the cutting edge of technology. He doesn't know studios the way Bob does. He's in there recording metal bands left, right, and center. It's usually just like put a guitar down, put another guitar down, put a bass down, a drum. Like, I think it was so simple, so basic, but this is what we got out of it. So I think that's compliments to them all. But I don't think anything like drum samples was an option at that point.
Yeah, and that drum sound is just absolutely phenomenal. People talk about it, and the kick sound in particular is widely regarded as one of the best heavy metal kick drum sounds in existence.
And again, I come back to this, right? What would have happened if there was a bass in there that we could hear? Because the bass is going to eat frequency from the kick drum.
I
And
can't.
like,
Gone.
it was, oh, can you not hear me? No?
No, Gavin can't for whatever
Ah,
reason.
tell him I'm
No, it was
saying
beeping
brilliant
at me
things.
there.
Was it?
Yeah.
Well, look, we're at the
You're
last
right.
track. Anyway. What I was saying, but
I
like,
can
what
kind of
if
hear what you're saying.
there was bass on that track and it eats the bit of the frequency? It takes a little bit out, and all of a sudden, that kick drum isn't the most iconic kick drum in the history of metal music at that point because Jason wants to play his bass. Like maybe those decisions that they made, as alien as they seem, is what gives us this perfection that is this record.
I absolutely love this. Myself and Gavin had a conversation about this the other day, and because you can't hear Dave,
I can
Gavin,
kind of hear you.
I'll repeat it. But Dave was saying if Jason had been allowed to play his bass at volume, we wouldn't have got that iconic drum sound.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Gavin had said, "Go on, you can say it that you would love to."
Yeah, I did say I would love to go back and like if you could transport the guys to now and record the album, what would it sound like? But then, as Luke said, and he was correct in saying that, then you wouldn't have justice.
You
That's
wouldn't.
why
And
we have Justice.
yes, and also, no offense to James, but the whole album will be in D because he's not singing it in an E anymore. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, like,
Yeah,
look, there's a
yeah,
million reasons that this record is what it is. Look, in fairness, the joy of albums, the joy of records is it's a snapshot of that moment and that time, and it's the most current thing that band could do at that minute. And I think for me, like Justice, everything about this record is the pinnacle of what Metallica were able to do. And like I have a t-shirt a mate of mine gave me, and it's the Beatles thing was Paul and John and George and Ringo, right? My t-shirt says kill and ride and just and puppets and justice. and then it has a full stop. And I know the Black Album's the Black Album, but I'm telling you, if Metallica quit in August 1988, it would have been perfect. They would have had the four best metal albums ever recorded, and we wouldn't need anything else. They didn't. They went on. They did the Black Album's the biggest thing. It changed music, changed metal, made them into the biggest band in the world. I don't want to talk about Load and Reload, but anyway, but those four records, this it all built to this, and to me, this record is sheer perfection, start to finish. I wouldn't change a bit of it. I'd never want to hear any of it re-recorded. Those ones with the bass turned up on YouTube, I don't mind them as an exploration, going, oh, that's interesting, and then I want to go back and listen to the right way.
On that note, Dave, I'm going to ask you a question.
Oh Christ!
Can you give?
Music Master.
No, don't worry. It's not a bad one.
Music Master ones.
Can you give me 3 words to describe this album?
Sheer fucking perfection.
Yes. I love it.
Yeah, that is absolutely on the money.
Absolutely. Favorite track? I know it's hard.
No, it's not. For me, it's Short Straw. And I know, like as I said before, there's so many you could choose. But, like Harvester, how do you choose? Just
very
as
hard
I
to
said, the guitars, the song I play the most on guitar. But if I had to, again, if we're kind of going, okay, you can listen to one song off this record and none of the others, I'm picking the Shortest Straw.
Short Straw.
Solid choice.
Least favorite track?
Wow. Don't know if I have one. Least favorite track. I mean, I know a lot of purists will kill me, but maybe one.
I agree.
Just what you said, yeah.
I agree. I said it to Luke. I said I found myself skipping one because it's just like you said. It's in that category of overplayed Metallica songs.
It's hard, isn't it? Like, I mean, it's it's such a brilliant song to have as the weakest one. If the weakest song on the record is one, then
That says a lot about the album, doesn't it?
Oh man, does it what?
Yeah. Yeah, man, that was amazing, I have to say.
That was one hell of a review.
I think this one's going to go down well.
If
it's been an
Metallica
absolute
ever hears,
pleasure.
hope
Dave, we have to give you a new book a mention.
Oh, do that. Oh, you have it there. Legend.
Oh, yes. Dave's Bad Jokes. Get out there and get this for Christmas. I had some laugh today at lunchtime reading this book.
This is my ultimate stocking filler.
There you go. This is my kill 'em all. This is just the beginning. I'm finding my way. I've listened to a load of Motorhead, and this is what I came up with. This is brilliant. I'm so proud of it, and it's what I love. My favorite thing about this is that it's from listeners. Like, so all the jokes I've been collecting jokes for 15 years. I've got the biggest Word document in the radio station, and it's just every joke's ever been sent to me. So when I had to pick 260 odd of them, the amount of riffs that are on Dark Angel's album, when I had to pick that, I was able to pick from stuff the listeners have sent me, stuff the listeners have bothered to take their time to go, I love this. And it means the world to me. It really does.
And I'm going to read one.
Please do.
Guy walks into a bar with a set of jump leads around his neck. Barman looks at him and says, "You can come in, but you better not start anything." Go on, read one.
I'm no conspiracy theorist, but you can't deny it. Every eclipse is just a big cover-up.
Yeah.
For all the lads out there who struggle with chat-up lines on Tinder or Hinge or on nights out, this is your book.
This is your book.
Never mind anything else that's recommended, 48 Laws of Power by Robert Greene or anything else. You need Dave Moore's Bad Jokes.
You really don't, but knock yourselves out.
Oh man,
yeah.
Dave, absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, really enjoyed that one. I really
so
enjoyed
did I.
it.
Thank you for inviting me, and especially for this record, because as you can tell, it means the world to me. So to be able to sit here and wax lyrical about how much I love the little nerdy bits of this with you two is just brilliant. So really appreciate it. Thank you.
Well,
Well, Dave, thank you for your time.
thanks for your time,
Leave
Dave.
it at that for today, and we'll have
As
to
always,
do another
boys.
one down the line.
We'll do another one down the road for sure.
All right, man.
Awesome.
Pure class, lads. Really appreciate it. Thanks a